Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Yesterday we worked on getting our game to run independently of what frame rate. So like right now we're running at 330 FPS and we modified our knockback to be more consistent outside of the frame rate speed. So today we'll be continuing that, but with our spellcasting so that we can have some consistent spellcasting, as well as it's a lot harder to cast a spell successfully right now than I would like. So hopefully we can get that not only consistent but a better, more appropriate speed, and we'll mess around with potentially tweaking it to make it harder or easier. Because as you progress through the game, it should become easier and easier to cast spells once you get proficiency with them. So that'll be an aspect of the game. I do want to change some of our settings here. Like I want this toggle mode to be a lot bigger, at least for the channel. When we deploy to the web, it's a pretty good size for the web deployment, but I do want to make it bigger for development here. So I do want to see where we do this thing here. I think under when we type G here. Okay, so this is how we're toggling the size now. This is the... Okay, so maybe we can just bump up the scale factor a bit, and that'll, because it looks like both G presses are changing by the scale factor, so maybe we just scale this by, let's see what 4 might look like. So 4 would mean, oh, and how did we had this 3 and then 2. Scale factor reset, where do we use this? Scale factor reset. Okay, so it looks like scale factor is the initial scale factor for the Game Boy overlay, and reset is like the other one. Well, let me see. If we do this to 4, what does that do? Scale factor to 4 is now a much bigger Game Boy. Okay, and then it gets reset. Okay, so it's like this. We did this bad, but if we were to put 4 here as well, we would get a bigger gameplay to look at. I think it needs to be even bigger. I was just watching the video of the last night's stream a bit, and I saw that it was just really small, so that's looking better. Easier to see now. Okay. Okay, so we've got the knockback scaling properly with delta time, so we need our spellcasting to be scaled properly. So I think the first thing we'd want to do, oh look at, we've already got this as a note in our notes here, modest frame rate independence, which we need to do. So let's see. The first step, I think, is like, it's like, look at all this junk. There's like, this is all of this. Oh my God. All of this, all of these lines right here is our spellcasting. Hey, thank you for the follow, Ligzerk. I appreciate it. We're building a game like Link's Awakening on the stream here. Like, there's so many lines of code just to do this mana spellcasting, and that's without allowing for the touch controls. So I think we want to do something like we did for our character moving, in the sense that we have this table that is holding. Right now we're doing touch detection based on a D-pad, which a D-pad is, in our code, is a object of collidable touch objects So see how we declare a D-pad as all of these touch detection objects, and we have a table of buttons to hold all the other things. So by the time we need to make spellcasting work with a touch of a button A instead of the spacebar press on a desktop computer, we have to go in at some point and say like, and this is tricky too, because we're going to have a touch of A isn't always going to be a spellcast. It'll be a spellcast if you're holding an element in your A inventory and then you hit A, and then it does all the Monas checks and the focus indicator checks and all that stuff. So right here, we are potentially draining Monas. Monas is what I call like concentration. It's like Monas is like, I just made up, but it's like, it's not mana, it's not magic, but it is like concentration that you use to cast magic. So we are, if space is down, we're subtracting it by 30 times delta time, and then the 0 here is to clamp it at 0 so that our Monas can't go lower than 0. So let's see how fast our Monas drains, and we'll see. Let's count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5-ish seconds to drain our Monas. Let's change our frame rate here and see if that is constant. So 1, 2, 3, 4 looked about constant. And the thing is, with VSync enabled, we go from 300 frames a second to 60 frames a second. So it was probably constant, but also, yeah, you know what? Let's do we just trust that was the same? I'm thinking about these ways to like set a timer and increment the timer to count, but it looks pretty stable. I don't know if I trust it though. Let's add a little local variable to track it and make sure. So let's just say that we have will give us a local variable called Monas timer. Above, we'll have to declare it, but here we're just going to say Monas timer is going to get incremented by delta time only if Monas is not equal to 0. So if self.monas is greater than 0, then we're going to go ahead, increment our timer, and then we'll declare up here just a local Monas timer just to check. We're not going to keep it, but so this should be counting how long it takes to drain our Monas, so we can check for the frame rate independence. And okay, if Monas is greater than 0, go ahead and increment that timer. Okay, so let's go ahead and print up this timer here. So we'll call it okay, and since we declared it at the top level, we should have access to it. Okay, Monas is 0, so when we hold it, it goes to about 3.3. So 3.31 at 60 frames a second. So if we hit 3.31 on our VSync disabled build, then this is accurate. So let's see, 3.317. .33. It's close. I don't think, I bet if we try this again, we would probably get a slightly different answer. Let's see. .33. So we're talking about 2/10 of, or 2/100ths of a place to be off by, but 33091. Okay, yeah, there is some variation. Even within itself. So it's not going to be consistent. Oh, see, look, and then that time... Oh, this is 3-3. Okay, we'll turn off VSync and try it again. Okay, yeah. It's looking consistent. So the Mona's Drain is looking okay. We'd probably want to give us, instead of a 30 here, like a... We'd want to put, like, Mona's Drain... as a constant, so that we can, I mean, constant isn't the word for it because it's going to change over time, but global rather. So, yeah, I don't know if we, right now all of my globals are in my constants, so I guess it's just a convention thing that I'm breaking. Let's just put right here, let's just say Mona's Drain gets 30. Because ideally, as you get more proficient in spellcasting, your drain would be slower, right? Making it easier for you to cast and stuff. Either that might be one step too far, like, because I think the what I call the unfocus, which is the result of spending your manas. Like, see this white bar? The white bar is the focus indicator. But like how wavy it is the what I'm calling the unfocus. So I'm thinking maybe Manas doesn't change. Maybe it doesn't get easier for you to concentrate, but the result of your concentration gets better. So maybe that's what we should do. I think I like that idea. Because I don't want to do too many things like, oh, well, now your Manas drains slower and your focus is better, so now it's like a double buff, and then you never struggle again. Like, the consistent exertion of effort, draining the same fastness, but then the result of your effort gets better over time. I like that. Okay, so we've got Mona's Drain. That's consistent. Now, we've got... This is what I was trying to pick apart yesterday that I was just confused as all hell about. What the hell are we doing here? We're literally saying, take the smaller of two values for a focus indicator X. So focus indicator X, if we look at what that is in code, all it is where we render the little focus, the little 2x2 white pixel that is our focus indicator. But then on top of that, it does one other thing, which is we check for a successful spellcast if our indicator is within a certain threshold. So those are the two things it's doing. So let's go back and check at what this code is actually saying. So it's like we're saying we're going to modify our focus indicator X to be its current position plus whatever our unfocus is. This is such a bad name for this. But we add our unfocus, and then we add a constant that we scale by delta time. And then we also give it another value, which is... See, I don't know what this is. Why? Self.max minus 2 times delta time. Where the hell does that come from? Manas max. Where is Manas max? We have 100 max Manas. Okay. And then we say Manas max minus 2 times delta time. Why? What? Let's... Because the focus indicator, we want we want it to be updated. As long as we have Manus, we want it to be the result of whatever our current position plus our unfocus is. That makes sense. But then we have it in a math.min function and say take the smaller of these two values, either the output of the unfocus or whatever this Manus max is, minus 2 times delta time. Why would we be doing this? Because I think I don't know why delta time, because like it would make sense to me that this is clamping the white square to be to not go past the barrier. See how like the white focus can go past our barrier now? But why the hell were we scaling it by delta time? Because wouldn't we just say like it would just be whatever the Manus max is minus 2 pixels for the width of the focus indicator. So like that makes sense to me. Just Manus max minus 2. See, that looks right. So I don't know where we got the multiply by delta time, but that's okay. Okay. So as long as our, we need to be happy with our unfocused value, but let's check here too. So if spacebar is pressed and our Manus is 0, draining focus when no Manus. What happens if we take this out? Because wouldn't Manus keep depleting? Let me see. What's the difference? I don't see the difference. Why do we say this? Draining focus when no Manus. Oh, draining focus. Oh, okay. So the focus indicator, we need to say, let's watch the focus indicator when we hit, let's watch the focus indicator when we drain all our Manus and space is still held. Because it should go down to 0, and it does. Okay, so I feel like we just don't need this. I'm literally just gonna straight up delete it. I'm not gonna do the comment out and come back to it if we need it. I'm just gonna straight up delete it. We can do it better if we need to. Okay, if our Manus is smaller than our Manus max, okay, then we want to regen as long as space isn't held. So this isn't an else block. So if space isn't held, then we're going to go ahead and we should probably call this Manus regen or something. So let's go add it. Just because the less magic numbers we have, the easier we can adjust these values once they become responsive to the independent of the frame rate, and then it'll just be easier to tweak these if they're not magic numbers. Okay, so we're gonna say okay, see, and I do like this too. Yes, I love it too, PB. I really love it. I'm totally sold on it, at least for this game, because I just want as many people as possible to be able to come and play it. So we got a Linux, Mac, and Windows build and a web deployed build. So it's like that already hits basically anyone who can, if you have a smart device or a computer, you can play this game. So like it's pretty sweet. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I love 2D. I love 2D. It is really cool, really friendly too. Okay, so this unfocused drain is like I think we do need something like this, because if we go to our debug print here and we instead print up our unfocus. Unfocus is probably the worst word. I don't know what else to come up with for that, but it's what? Unfocus? Let's look at our unfocus. Okay, so look at what's happening. It's like... yeah, I don't like that it's... Because if we were to hold spacebar when unfocus is really high, let's watch how fast the indicator moves. Yeah, see how fast it jumped? Versus if I hold it at 0, it ramps up. So I would like this unfocused drain. Like, I think we only want to be tweaking our unfocus value when space is held, and then focus drain it down to 0, so we always have a smooth ramp up from empty, from no concentration to, it should be a smooth ramp up. So I think we want to do something here. See, I don't like that we're doing this willy-nilly. I think we should put it only under spacebar being pressed. What the hell did I just do? Okay, unfocus. It ends at unfocus growing, and then we can say here unfocus growing. Okay. Okay, let's see this. So now our unfocus, and we'll put the drain back on too. Okay, so let's see. It should be 0. Unfocus should be 0. Cool. And then, yeah, it only modifies once we start holding the button. Now, it's hard to get this. It's hard to tweak this where I think is, because it drains faster than you can get it, which I think is okay, but I think we need to speed up how much unfocus we get so that it can just be more effective. Let's see, where do we set? See, look, and then we have another magic number here for focus. So let's put in a focus grow constant. Let's double it up to 4 and see what that looks like. It should be called unfocus grow, but that's just like ridiculous, right? Unfocus sounds so bad. Okay. See, I don't like how unfocus goes straight to 0. But I guess, actually, no, that does kind of make sense. Okay. So I'm going to just hold spacebar and watch what unfocus does. It should shift somewhere between like 0 and 2, and back down to 0 and back up to 2 or something. So let's see. It kind of goes like right down to 2 right away. Because gosh, yeah, okay. So if our unfocus is greater than or equal to our focus max, we're going to become, oh god, no longer unfocus growing. And then if we're not unfocus growing, then we're going to decrement our unfocus. But this is so stupid. We're going to decrement our unfocus by focus grow if we're not unfocus growing. What the hell does that even mean? Oh man. Okay. So I think what I don't like, it looks like our unfocus shrinks way too fast once Yeah, well, no, it looks pretty consistent. It's just that if spacebar is held and there's no manus, unfocus should be 0. So we could just say if self.manus is equal to 0, then we want to, or for as long as manus is greater than 0, we would increment right here, which we are doing right here. We can say if self.manus is greater than 0, then go ahead and grow. And we can say else unfocus is just going to be equal to 0. Okay, let's see. Yep. Great. Okay. So now the question is like how effective or noticeable is the unfocus? See, it didn't, we should see it. First of all, we need to slow this grow so that we have more time to do something. We'll slow it down so we can see it. Let's slow it down to 1 and see. It should take a couple seconds for it to go all the way to the right. Well, not a couple seconds, but yeah, it still is going quite fast. Because I like the idea that it does take a little bit. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to find that balance, because I like that there's like friction at the very beginning, like you have to concentrate, right? Like the exertion of your focus for the first half second doesn't result in any output because you're still focusing, you know, like so I like that aspect of it. It's just that I don't see the focus indicator really being modified by much. So does that mean we would need to, we could increase our focus max so that we can modify by a bigger number? But also when we modify, let's see, so as long as our unfocus is smaller than our max, we're going to go modify our unfocus by focus grow, okay. But then wow, this is easy to get lost in. Yeah, let's leave ourselves some notes here just so I can kind of like wrap my head around this. So it's like, this is the it's so stupid. Unfocus shrink. This is the unfocused decrement. This is the unfocused grow. This is so bad. Open to better naming than unfocus. It's just that everything was focus. Focus indicator, focus max, focus growing. Okay, so then this is where we actually apply unfocus to focus indicator. And then this is a clamp focus indicator to 0 if no manus. Okay. Then what is this? If buttons does not equal 0. Okay, so this is part of our touch handling. So we'll not worry about that yet. We'll just get it consistent, independent frame rate now, and then we'll do the touch handling for it. But wait, what is over here? What? Why are we doing this again? Monostrain. This might be the result of... Okay, let's just get rid of this. I think this is duplicating our efforts here. Now, where is this successful spellcast? Is that inside? It's inside the not scene view shifting block, so we should be able to get rid of this space block here. And if scene not shifting, I feel like we might need... I feel like we might need an end right here. Yeah, I think we need an end right here. Okay, I think that's right. Okay. Well, now our indicator X is not moving at all, and our unfocus is all jacked up. So it looks like it wasn't a total... Yo, why do we have this? Monostrain. Focus indicator rising. We have that already. Don't we have... Oh, okay. We don't have it. Let's add it to the same block though. So we do need monostrain. Okay. So we'll put this over here. What is going on? Okay. I don't like how we did this at all. Because we've got some nested logic here in an else if, but we're already asking the question if space is down, but also we need to refactor it so that it works for if any given touch is colliding with the button that the element is assigned to, then we also need to do this stuff. So I don't like how we did this. But for now, let's just keep this nastiness for now. I'm gonna cut this out. We'll worry about how to do it once we get there. I just need to... Okay, so we're not having our focus drain. Where did our focus drain go? Or our indicator? Where did we mess this up? Okay, we're just not draining our focus indicator anymore. Why did that take it out? It's this line right here. If we comment out this line, then our focus indicator just gets stuck. So this isn't touch handling. This is... I said touch handling because we're asking on our global buttons table, which is a touch object, but we just kind of preemptively did that because we're saying, okay, if space is down, the focus indicator is going to be going up. So let's see how much it's going up by. Otherwise, for now, we can just say else our focus indicator X will get either 0 or the result of our current indicator X minus our modus drain minus our unfocus scaled by delta time. I don't know if that's right. It doesn't sound right. Because ideally what I want to happen is if you hold space and cast a spell, the little focus indicator should kind of like zip up like in little pulses, like because it's supposed to be kind of a little bit unpredictable because you can't, like, it's supposed to just be a little tougher than a simple timing game. But let's see if this functions weirdly different under the other VSync. So if we enable VSync, now it'll be a 60 FPS, and let's see. It does go a lot slower, see that? So we are doing some stuff wrong here. In terms of at least the scaling for it, so... Oh god, I can't even wrap my head around this. Because what we need to scale by delta time is the change in position. So if the change in position is our unfocus, then we need to scale... Let's see here. We would need to scale everything that is modifying our focus indicator X by delta time. Not just one constant of it. So let's see if we change here. If we say let's keep the plus, but we'll add some parentheses here to say let's go ahead and modify unfocus. Actually, yeah, we would just change. Let's just change how much unfocus we're modifying by. Where is unfocus? Okay, so unfocus is set by focus grow. Okay. So we would just tweak our focus grow if we want our unfocus to be a different value. Then we don't have to do that weird plus 30 times delta time. That should give us a consistent unfocus grow on any frame rate. Okay, I don't see anything happening. So, do we need to just multiply it by a bigger number so that... Because whenever we multiply it by delta time, it's going to cut it. It's going to cut it to a 60th. With VSync on, it cuts it to a 60th of a second. So once we take out the scaling like that, it becomes a tiny, tiny number. Okay, so that's growing really slow. But I guess the question is like, it looks like we just pass the successful cast range by the time our modus runs out. So let's try to swap VSync off and see if it's about the same timing. Yeah, no. It didn't grow at all. This is trickier than I thought it was going to be. So if our unfocus, we tested that our unfocus was constant outside of frame rate. So that's good. that should mean that our focus indicator rising would be constant because we're scaling it by delta time here. Okay. See, I guess I don't like this idea where we say focus indicator X minus monostrain plus unfocus times delta time. I think that's a little jacked up. Okay, every time we apply delta time, let's just make sure we're modifying the everything but the original value. So this looks right. This looks right. But these ones look weird. So like, let's try to first subtract, or first do this difference, then it'll multiply by delta time, and then it'll subtract that value. So let's try that and see if we get a focus indicator that's actually moving with VSync disabled. Okay, so that's looking okay. And then here's okay because we're only scaling the constant by delta time before we modify the original. So that looks right. This is parenthesesed out, so that looks right. This looks right. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay. Our focus indicator X is not draining at the frame rate independent speed, so let's make sure that's we have. It should be focus indicator, focus strain, unfocus strain. Oh, see, look, yeah, we aren't even scaling it. So let's do multiply by delta time, and instead of 0.15, we'll have to modify that by, that'll be a bigger number. So we'll say that maybe it's focus strain gets, let's say 30, and we'll put minus focus strain. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're growing, and we're very slowly shrinking. Let's multiply this by a much bigger number. What? Focus indicator. This has got to be something else. Oh, this is just our unfocus. Okay, yeah, we don't want to do this. Let's do... We do want to scale it by something. Gosh, yeah, let's... This is just our unfocus, though. Let me just put a magic number in there for now. I just want to see if we can get our... You know what? Let's not do that. Let's not do that bad habit. Let's put in the unfocused strain right here. Because one problem with those magic numbers is like you don't know if they were specifically put there for any reason, which most of the time they're not. Like they're mostly just a guess. So later on when you're looking at your code, you're like, why the hell is this 60? And what does that have to do? Like, it doesn't tell you anything about like the ratio in between the two values. And maybe that's I don't know if that's a design thing, but we'll put 30 in there. I think we're still printing up our unfocus. Yeah, it should be, you know what? If space isn't held, unfocus is just 0, right? Because, yeah, we don't even need that crap. We just want unfocus to be 0, because by the time you exert more effort, the unfocus needs to ramp up anyway. So unfocus just needs to be 0. if space isn't held. And I think we're already doing that, are we not? Yeah. If unfocus right here, if space is held, okay. Okay, so this, we need this one because if space is held and you're out of Manus, you also need an unfocus of 0, but we also need to flush it to 0 if space isn't being held, because we need the next transition to ramp up smooth, so that's why there's 2 there. So we don't need that magic number, we don't need the constant at all, because we just set it to 0. So let's see here how it's looking. Okay, ramp up. Oh, see, look at this. Oh, see? Oh, yeah, the drain is just so slow. We need to drain it. Focus indicator, drain, where is that? If Manus is greater than 0, okay, that's just our timer. Okay, here's the drain. Manus drain. No, Manus drain is different than focus indicator. Shit, okay. Okay, so I think it's this else block here, because we're saying, okay, if space is down, otherwise shrink our focus indicator. So I don't think we want to do this based on the Manus drain. It has nothing to do with Manus drain, and it also has nothing to do with unfocus. We just want to shrink it. So let's put a unfocused drain here. And then we'll give us that right here. Oh, it would just be... God damn it. Are we doing focus drain anywhere? We aren't. Okay, so this is focus drain. And focus drain, let's put it at 30 just because that's kind of what we're doing for everything. And then we'll modify it. This should drain faster. It might need to be higher than that. Yeah, that's looking much faster, draining-wise. Okay, let's see if this is consistent. Let's see if this is about the same with VSync disabled, which it should be because we're scaling things by delta time now. So let's see if we go... Okay, now we're running at 330 frames per second. It looks like it's growing. It looks the same. You know, I'm not... I didn't do the old timer thing, but it's looking good. What I do want to do is make sure that our focus indicator is being... It looks like a linear ramp up, right? Which is not what we want. We want it to be modified by a value that changes over time, which is our unfocus, aptly named. But we need to, I think since we're scaling it by delta time, we just cut it by 60, a 60th. So like whatever that value was that we were modifying our unfocus to, either we need to grow our... let me think this through. The thing we're trying to do is change the value that we're modifying our focus indicator X by. So whenever we have unfocus, we want unfocus to be a bigger number. Is that right? It's tricky because there's only so many pixels. There's only like 60 pixels down there. So if we pick a whole number bigger than 3, which currently our focus max is set to 3, I think. Let's try that. Let's just see if we change our focus max if we can notice a difference. What is it called? It's called unfocus? No. Focus max is 2.5. Let's change this to like 7 and just see if we can see the focus indicator going faster or slower. Unfocus is just growing too slow. So we need to modify our focus grow to be faster, or our unfocus. God damn it. Focus grow or unfocus grow? It would be unfocus grow. Yeah, see, that's faster. Okay. Okay, let's make focus grow faster. See, I want it to be we want it to be much faster. I think I want, see how it's going from 0 to 5 and back down to 0 in the course of like 4 seconds? We want that to be in the course of like 1 second. So let's try to do that faster. Okay, so our focus grow is different than our focus max. So if we put a faster grow in here, let's just put 50 for the hell of it and see. Focus grow. It should be called unfocus grow because, yeah, okay. So see that? That's more like it, going faster. And then that's modifying our focus indicator. So let's make sure that our focus max should be less. So let's make sure our focus max isn't that much. Yeah, let's make this like a 5. This is really unfocus max, but that just sounds ridiculous. There we go. So do you see that little stuttering for the focus indicator? Like it kind of like hiccups like over speed bumps almost. Hey Katron, what's up, dude? Hey, congrats Katron. I hope that goes well. Is that oh gosh. That's not like over an organ or anything, is it? Or is it? See, that is getting closer. That is the little hiccup that I'm looking for. It's just not very smooth at all. So, okay. Well, hey, congrats, dude. I hope that keeps going well. I'm supposed to have an interview coming up. They said they were going to schedule it this week, but we'll see. Okay, so I think we want, this is weird. Let's make our focus max a little smaller, and let's make our focus grow a little smaller too. Let's see, because I want it a very clear, okay, yeah, see the stuttering I'm like talking about is like, it's not very smooth though. It's because our, like, what is controlling how fast we go from, it's just the grow and shrink, right? I think the focus grow is the thing that is triggering how fast we grow, because this, maybe not. Oh, focus max. Okay, so however long it takes unfocus to hit our focus max is what's triggering the unfocused grow. This is just so gross. I don't know why. All unfocused growing is doing is triggering the unfocused value from, let's say unfocused max is 5. It goes from 0 up to 5 down to 0, up to 5 down to 0. Now the unfocused growing is when it's getting bigger. Ungrowing false is when that number is getting smaller. So we're trying to say, let's not shift focus. let's basically not do it as fast. Let's not shift growing as fast, but we're triggering the ungrowing based on unfocus reaching the focus max, and the unfocus is triggered by the grow. So the focus grow is directly changing how fast we reach the flip to modify in the smaller direction. Oh geez, that is so silly to explain. But let's see here. We want focus grow to be smaller. Let's just see if focus grow is 10. Let's watch our focus indicator and look at it. See, it wasn't so apparent there. But if we have focus grow like 100, our unfocus stutters. Okay, so this is, we want, I think we want to decouple something in here. Like we want like a base speed that it grows if you just hold it, and then we want like a little modifier. That's what unfocus is supposed to be, is the little modifier. So if let's see if we can continue to tweak our focus grow to get to a sweet spot, and then we tweak our focus max to be that modifier of how much we're like hiccuping, and focus grow is how fast we're hiccuping, and then we'll see if the overall speed is appropriate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to take it slow, Katron, especially with big stuff like that. Because, you know, it's so hard to put your trust in some company if it's a brand new thing, you know, and you're like, I'm going to uproot my life for you guys right now, and then you guys are going to fire me in like a day. Not that they'd fire you, Katron. Just saying, some of us get fired. Unfortunately. Okay, let's take down our focus max down to 3, and then we'll up our focus grow so that we swap a little faster. So if we go with the speed bump metaphor for our unfocus modifying this, focus grow would be the proximity of speed bumps, whereas focus max is the length of the speed bump. If I think that makes sense. So if we want, let's say focus grow 50. Let's see if we can notice it at this point. Yeah, it's like little stuttering. Okay. I think we want a bigger focus max. Okay. Okay. So I want the speed bumps to happen less often, so I want focus grow to be a smaller number. So let's go down to 40. Okay. Because ideally we have like a range of values that we can step this through to give us like a proficiency bonus. So like at the beginning of the game, you know, you're hitting a lot of these speed bumps, for example, in terms of output of your focus. See, what sucks though is that in order for the speed bumps to work, we have to speed up. We naturally speed up the time it takes to get to a successful spellcast. So if your spellcasting is more stable, it takes you longer to get up to speed. So maybe that progression system doesn't make a lot of sense. Or we would just modify your base output as you get proficiency. Okay. See, it still looks like there's too often of speed bumps. I'm going to go down to focus grow 20 and see what that looks like. There we go. That's looking better. Let's speed up. I think we want something in between. So, yeah, like, really everything's 30? Is that what we're coming down to? Is everything is 30? Okay. And you know what? One thing I forgot about is if we drain our unfocus, then it's easy to reach the successful spell cast and then just lightly tap and stay in the range, and it's not hard at all to keep a successful spell cast going. I mean, I guess if you're walking around, it does become hard. Okay, I do like that it's not a constant speed up. I do want to speed up the focus drain. It doesn't drain it as fast as I would like. That looks better. Okay. This is feeling a lot better. Let's check VSync on and see what that looks like. Because that'll take us from 330 frames a second to 60, and it is looking and feeling consistent. Okay, great. So this gives us the basis to now rehaul the spellcasting to also accept a touch input as well as the spacebar input, or one of the values. Okay, great. Okay, so I think this is a decent spot to commit. Let's just take a look at our diff here. We changed the scale factor for easier viewing for the stream. We gave us some constants for our modus drain, regeneration, and our focus grow and our focus drain. Okay, and then we rehauled our unfocused system so that it scales by delta time. We took our we made a couple of changes that I couldn't follow why we even had in the first place. So now looking at it, it looks like it makes more sense now. Like this scaling, look at this. Like we did focus indicator X gets current indicator X plus unfocus plus 30 times delta time. That wasn't scaling right at all. Now we have, okay, just your unfocus. Oh, we do have a 60 in there. We might want to put a number in there that isn't 60. Let's go do that before we move on, because that okay, that's the end of our get diff. So that is in our focus indicator rising. So let's go find that real quick. Where are we? Here. Okay, so instead of 60 here, I would just call it unfocused scalar. I don't know. That's what it's doing. Is it's just taking our unfocus and scaling it so that when we multiply it when we properly scale it by delta time, it doesn't just eat it up into oblivion. And then we'll see what happens if we change this scalar. Let's see. If we change this scalar, like if we double this scalar, what happens? It looks like our focus indicator just grows way faster. So let's see if we put like 30 instead of 60 and half it. Okay, so it's more so it's not the unfocused scalar, it's more like the the number go up scaler or our focus indicator, because we're saying we are. Yeah, it should be called the focus rise or something, or we have focus gain, don't we? We don't have focus gain. Okay, it's something like focus gain, and we're scaling that by unfocus. Oh, that doesn't make sense, does it? Because if unfocus is 0, we're not doing anything to that. Let's leave it as unfocused scalar. Because yeah, if unfocus is at 0, which it often is, then we would not rise our indicator here. Well, what's the other value here? Or our minus maxed at 2. Okay. So how is it that current indicator X plus whatever our unfocus? Okay, so this is not what I thought we were doing. We're kind of only modifying our focus indicator X position based on unfocus alone. Which since our game is so tiny, like 60 pixels, if our unfocus is around 5, for example, then in one frame, 5 pixels of our 60 pixel width of focus is a lot. So if we had a base focus we were gaining plus an unfocus, that's already more than what, a sixth of the whole width in one frame. So it does kind of make sense that we would only modify our focus indicator by our unfocus, but it sounds so stupid to modify it just by unfocus. It doesn't make a lot of sense to anyone looking at the code base. But the number's so tiny, we don't have the ability to add a base gain and then modify it by unfocus, because we're already maxing out the bar in like 2 seconds just by modifying by unfocus. Okay, so let's change our unfocused scalar back to 60, because that seemed like the sweet spot. Okay, and then I used to think that we should not drain unfocus if space is held. I used to think that because then it made it harder to stay in the successful spellcast range. But now I'm thinking, like, now that I'm like walking around and trying to spellcast it, it's like it's really tough to navigate shit and try to keep that in your peripherals. Now there is a thing I want to do where I want to add another feature, another sense to determine whether or not your manus exertion is actually helping you in a successful spellcast. And it's like I want a sort of like droning ambient hum to kind of come louder and louder as you get close to a successful spellcast, so that it's one other clue you can use your senses for to kind of help you reach a successful spellcast without your eyes having to be down there all the time. And it's like, I guess for accessibility reasons, we would want, if someone doesn't have their volume on, does that mean they shouldn't be able to, like, part of me says like, hey, let's just go purely audio, so that it would be, you don't have a visual thing for you to look at to match the successful spellcast green zone, but you're exerting pressure or concentration because your manus is draining, but you don't know where the sweet spot is until you find it. Like, I want it to be more of like a push and pull. Like, if you think about if you drive like a manual transmission car, it's about feeling and balancing the clutch, right? Like it's like a play, and you're not looking at your feet saying, "Oh, I need to push the clutch in now," but you're seeing like the output, and you're like, "I know I need to push the clutch. I know I need to balance this zone in order to start in first gear here." So that's the kind of feeling I'm wanting to go for more, is like this feeling of trying to balance it and push and pull. And I think just the visual of trying to get that focus indicator in the green zone is too distracting. I want the people to be looking at the game and not be looking at the screen at the bottom. Do you get what I'm trying to say though, Katron? Like it doesn't matter if people know to drive manual. I'm just saying, for people who do drive manual, it's more about that feeling. Like, you're not looking at your feet, you're feeling the engine. You know, it's more so I want people to be sucked into the game and the world of the game, rather than looking at a little bar down here saying like, "Ooh, I'm successfully spellcasting as long as I keep it right here in this green zone." So I think if we tie in other things, like maybe there's a visual cue on top of an auditory cue that helps you zone in on this. Like maybe there's some more vibrancy or something to the colors, or maybe there's a vignette that comes on when you're in the zone, and like everything outside of you in a radius gets a little bit darker so that you can kind of see. I mean, there is, there's instant feedback. Like, you can see we're in a successful spell cast because there's a spell going around us. So is that enough? Like, be like, oh, just hold your spellcast button until it's there and try to just balance it. And under the hood, you're doing the clutch balancing down here, but you're not given any visual of that clutch balancing. You just have to feel it and find it, So maybe that is a way, and that's something like playtesters can help us balance out. Like, is it too confusing that there's no output for when your spell's coming out, but rather you just have to spellcast and then balance the clutch, if you will, to keep the spell going. And you don't know what's happening under the hood, but if you don't hit it fast enough, it fades. And if you hold it too long, it fades. So it's a lot like the manual transmission in that sense. I think I'm liking this. I think that's making more sense, because I don't want people, like, let's just, if we just get rid of where we're rendering our let's look where we're rendering our focus indicator. Yeah, so look, let's keep our Manus bar render. Let's just take it all off. Let's just see. If we take off our Manus bar, and you don't even know how much Manus you have, that's probably too much, but I'm just curious what it might feel like. So like, if we don't have anything, right? We don't have a Manus bar to see, but we know, for example, that spacebar's cast a spell. It's like, oh, well, I'm casting a spell. Oh shit, spells are coming out. Oh, crazy. But it's not every time. It's only if I hold it. Is it too weird to like have it be almost magical, where it's like, oh, I have to just press it, but not too long and not too fast, and let people figure out how to drive stick. I think I like that. Like, it feels more intentional. Like like, even me knowing how it's working under the hood is like, okay, I know it's just a balance. Like, I either pushed it too much or not enough, and it's up to me to kind of find the tempo, right? Tashio Tempo here, find the tempo in order to successfully spellcast. Now, the only thing I don't like is that if you're out of Manus, right? Like, if you're maybe Manus is a thing, because we don't want, like, let's say you're really good at driving stick and you just have the spellcast up 100% of the time, then if you get really good at driving stick, there's no deterrent for you casting spell. There should be a limit to you casting a spell. So maybe that's the feature we say, where we make the world start to fade colors a bit if your Manus is low, or some other indicator. You know, maybe Tashio moves slower, the slower his manus, or the lower his total manus is or something. So like maybe we can have something like that. I'm leaning more towards letting people figure it out. It's just more immersive when I'm looking at the result of my actions rather than the little bar of the result of my actions down at the bottom of the screen, and it makes it more of a feeling than a visual chore. And I think that makes it more interesting. But we'll have to see, because like I can see people just not understanding it at all, right? But then that's where like maybe storytelling or like some of the NPCs can be like, oh, it's tough to cast spells, huh? I don't know. And then like, you know, this guy is gonna give us some tips. So like maybe if you're struggling with magic, you clearly walk up to the wizard castle and he'll give you a tip. So there's a lot to think about. I do like this idea though of balancing the clutch and figuring it out. It just feels a lot better to me than the mini game of someone looking at the bottom of the screen. So I think we'll move forward with this idea. We'll probably leave the stuff on so we can see under the hood while we develop. Is that right here? No. Let's leave it on while we develop. But keep that in the back of the mind where it's like maybe we let them kind of fend for themselves and figure out how the system works. And maybe different spell casts have different spell ranges. Some are very, very close at the beginning. So like, you know, you can't hold it for very long, or otherwise you pass the successful cast range, and you have to just like lightly balance it. And maybe there's a different unfocused range for the shorter spell cast or something. I really don't know. But I do want the spells to feel different. I don't want it to be the same mechanic, the same tempo for every spell. I want it to be unique. But this is great. We're getting the frame rate independent spell casting now, as well as movement. So tomorrow we will add spell casting for touch. So for right now we'll put it, or for tomorrow we'll put, gosh, we need to fix that too. We need to put spell casting as, for tomorrow we'll put it as like pressing A will be the spell cast, but in the near future we need to make a little inventory system where you hit start to pull up the little inventory menu, and A would only cast a spell if you're holding the element that you're trying to cast. So for right now, for tomorrow, we'll put it just on A, but in the future we'll have to make sure, okay, is your element equipped? Then if A is pressed and it's equipped on A, then we'll be spellcasting it. And then I guess for stuff like reading a sign, A would also be read a sign if it's an interactable, right? So if we call it like an interactable, if you're holding a element and you go to cast a spell, if there is a sign or if there is an interactable in your vicinity, it would default to read the interactable rather than cast the spell. So that way we give a little bit more functionality to the A button so that it doesn't just cast spell, it also interacts with things if you're around it. And then hopefully we don't get that messed up where, you know, you don't want to be running away trying to cast a spell and accidentally interact with something. So we'll have to make sure we don't shoot ourselves in the foot there. But let's go ahead and commit here. Let's say that it is frame rate independent spellcasting. That's what we did. So let's go ahead and push it, and we'll call it a day. I'll be back tomorrow and we'll be doing that stuff. I know, here we go. There's streamer friend Salto Manga's doing some art on his channel. I always like rating him because he's a cool dude and he has some chill streams. and he did the fantastic Sekiro art for the channel here, so I always like giving him a raid and saying what's up. But I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'll be here tomorrow, but I hope you all have a great rest of the night. Catch ya.